Hello everybody, welcome back to another baseball reference deep dive with Zany Baseball, where we take a look at a random page on baseball reference and we dive into the little details that can maybe be overlooked in the terms of baseball history. We're all about baseball lore here, so what we're going to do in this episode is we're going to do exactly what we did the last time. We're going to type in random in the search bar on baseball reference and we'll see what we get, and then we'll dive into it. We'll see what we can learn. Last time we got a really incredible poll. We got a 1989 game between the Oakland Athletics and the Seattle Mariners that just so happened to be the Major League debut for Ken Griffey Jr. and for Omar Vizquel, as well as featuring the absolute star power of guys like Dennis Eckersley. Dave Stewart was the starting pitcher for the A's. Mark Langston was the pitcher for the Seattle Mariners. That was the year that he was traded to the Montreal Expos for Randy Johnson. Got guys like Alvin Davis, who was a Rookie of the Year, Edgar Martinez, a Hall of Famer. There was a whole lot of star power. Thinking about even guys like Harold Reynolds, who is now a MLB Network analyst, and guys like Rick Honeycutt, relief pitcher at the time for the Oakland A's, who is now a pitching coach for the Los Angeles Dodgers. So a lot of really good stuff in that last episode. Go check that one out if you haven't seen it. That was a really fun one. I don't think that we're going to get quite as lucky this time because, again, when you type random into the search bar on Baseball Reference, you can get literally anything. So, we'll see what we get here in this new episode. Oh, we got a box score like we did the last time. Wow. We got an old one. July 21st, 1904. The dawn of baseball. We've got the Detroit Tigers and the Washington Senators. Man, the Senators, one of the all-time worst teams ever. Let's see. I just want to see what they finished. Oh my goodness, 38 and 113, and they had 6 ties. Where did they finish? No, that's not what I wanted. They finished where in the American League in 1904? So the Boston Americans won the division, and it was by far, oh my goodness, they were the worst by far. The Tigers were actually second this year. That is something else. So we got one of the all-time worst teams ever, the Washington Senators, in this 1904 season. So, and then we just saw the Tigers. They finished 7th, not much better. They had 10 ties this year, 62, 90, and 10. So they were playing 162 games at this point, back in the early 1900s. Wild stuff. All right, let's see what we've got here. Jimmy Barrett led off, was 2 for 3. It was the only multi-hit effort in this game for the Tigers. And this is crazy. So the Senators actually won this game 11-5. American League Park. I wonder where this was. I would assume it's in D.C. I would think. Wow, look at this. The Senators were mashing today. 2-hit efforts from 4 for 5 for their cleanup guy. 5, 6, 7 of their guys had a multi-hit day. That is something else. It looks like we don't have a play-by-play breakdown for this one, but it's pretty obvious to see that this was all Senators in this game. Got a double. Everybody was stealing bases this game, too. Wow, look at that. We've got 3 doubles on behalf of the Senators. We got a couple of doubles on behalf of the Tigers. This was, that 5th inning. Yep, that'll do it. A 7-run 5th inning. After the Tigers just took a 2-1 lead, the Senators plowed back. And then this little 3 runs here at the end made it a little bit closer than maybe it seemed. Let's start diving into these players, though. Jimmy Barrett. This was towards the middle of his career. 1904, yeah, looks like the longest, or the most games that he played. Played in all 162 this year. Was an outfielder. Led the league in walks this year. Also led the league in strikeouts a couple years before. That's an interesting number. So he led the league in strikeouts with 63 and 64 in 1990 and 1900, excuse me, in 1901. And then he jumped all the way up to 91 strikeouts, but he was not the league leader in strikeouts. On-base percentage lead in 1903. So Jimmy Barrett there had a decent career, looked like, as well. Similar type of career here for Matty McIntyre. 1904, this was towards the beginning of his career. Played just half a season with the, 1904. 1901, this was the Philadelphia A's, I believe, right? Yep, Philadelphia Athletics. So he started his career there and then moved to Detroit. This was one of his better years, although 1908 was definitely one of the best. 105 runs scored, led the league in plate appearances. It's 1904 season. That's a decent year. It's about a league average year, 146 hits. 46 RBIs, a couple of home runs. Yeah, look at that. This was an era where home runs were pretty rare, so to have 2 in a year, that's pretty impressive. Charlie Carr. Looks like he was traded middle of this year. Let's see if we have information on that. To the Cleveland Napoleons. I didn't even know that existed. So he was traded in August of this year. So he was traded not too long after this game, because I believe, right, we're in July, right? Yeah, July 21st. So just like 3 weeks later, Charlie Carr was traded. And funny enough, he was 0 for 5 in this game, so it kind of makes a lot of sense. He was only hitting .223 at this point. Makes a lot of sense. Charlie Carr. Sam Crawford. Wow, look at this. Oh, this is a Hall of Famer. Look at that. Long career with Detroit. Whoa, wait a minute. This is the guy that is the all-time leader in triples. This Tigers team must have been crazy on the base paths, because Ty Cobb was around this era too, right? I feel like. Led the league in triples in 2, 4, 6 years of his 19-year career. Finished second in MVP voting. So this 1904 season is the one we're looking at. He had for some decent power too. 97 home runs is no slouch in this time. 16 home runs in 1901. Started with Cincinnati and then was with Detroit. Let's see how that happened. I would assume it's a trade. He jumped. What does that mean? He jumped from the Cincinnati Reds to the Detroit Tigers. I guess maybe that's trade? Or maybe he just switched teams, I guess? Huh. I've never seen that terminology before. So he's the all-time triples leader. That's cool. I knew that there was a guy. I didn't know it was this guy. I couldn't have identified this name necessarily, but I knew there was a very obscure triples all-time leader. So the fact that we found him in this game is pretty cool. And I guess that was kind of just the theme of the Tigers in this era, because you think about guys like Ty Cobb, who was also a triples maniac in terms of just how many triples he had. And these numbers, you will never see these types of numbers ever again. I don't think we're ever going to get anybody close to 309 triples, because, I mean, triples are fairly hard to come by anyway. So Sam Crawford, we did get a Hall of Famer, 309 career batting average, almost 3,000 hits. That's a very exclusive club. Did not quite get there. 1,300 runs, almost 1,400. His slug was really good too. Yeah, I mean, if you have so many triples like that, it makes a lot of sense. Led the league in total bases twice. Outfielder, kind of started to make his way towards first base towards the end of his career. That's a good pull right there. Sam Crawford, Hall of Famer. Bobby Lowe. His nickname was Link. That's funny. Pittsburgh guy. Hey, there we go. I think this was Boston? Yeah, Boston. So we've got a guy that was playing in the 1800's. Ooh, okay, so he was with Pittsburgh at the beginning of this season. and then made his way to Detroit. I wonder when that was. Let's see when that was. He was released on April 10th. He didn't play much in Pittsburgh this year, and then he was signed April 14th. Or no. Wait. He was released, and then he was re-signed 4 days later, and then he was signed as a free agent with the Tigers. I guess he must have been released in between there, but it doesn't say that. Huh. Intriguing. Very intriguing. Let's see what his 1904 season was like. Not very good. A couple of seasons with, what's that, 31 combined homers over 2 years. That's pretty good. Led the league in at-bats in 1894. Got to make sure I delineate that. So it was pretty good towards the beginning of his career with Boston, and then maybe a little bit with Chicago, but not really much here when he made his way to Detroit. Rabbit Robinson, there's a name for you. 1 career home run, and that did not come in 1904. Only played 3 seasons. Oh, that's a big gap right here. See if our transactions will tell us anything about that. It's traded in 1910. Jim Doyle. Is that a... that's not who I thought it was. So Rabbit Robinson. Real name was William Clyde Robinson. Had a meh year. That's actually an okay year, I guess. That's fine, I guess. I guess it technically is above league average, but nothing super special. D-War was pretty average. Rabbit Robinson there. George Mullen. Oh, pretty good pitcher here. Not a Hall of Famer. No accolades necessarily. This was towards the beginning of his career. Led the league in walks this year. Led the league in walks for 4 straight years, actually. 44 games started, 42 complete games. I love this era of baseball because that's what it was. It's just you are going to go until the game is over. And that's just all about it. Pretty nice career. 228 wins, 282 ERA. Over 3,600, almost 3,700 innings pitched. Not a strikeout guy, but he did the job. Actually, did he have more strikeouts than walks? Yeah, just barely. So George Mullen, wait, was he was playing third? Oh, no, he was pitching this game. So he was batting, he was 1 for 4 with a run. Actually, let's go back and see what type of hitter he was, because obviously pitchers did hit in this time. So we got pitching stats, batting. Here's the batting stats we're looking for. At the plate, he was good. Look at that. 53 games. Had 45 hits. That's almost a hit per game. Hit 290. Had 3 career homers. 1 came the year before. Hey, that's not bad. He only struck out 16 times in 169 at-bats. He held it down. Look at that. Good for him. Also played a little bit of outfield, too, it looks like. Played some right field in 1904. So this was when pitchers were not a liability to hit because they were expected to still do so. Fritz Buelo. German guy. We saw a German guy last time. I assume this is one of the first Germans to ever play. Fritz Buelo, yeah. One of the longer standing ones. Played 9 years, 1899 to 1907. Didn't have the best of careers. Was a catcher. That's kind of makes a little bit of sense. Well, he was traded this year. Traded to Cleveland. Purchased by, so he was purchased by the Cleveland Napoleons. Let's see what his defensive WAR was. That was pretty good. Above average. Did not hit super well with Detroit. Actually, when was that trade? July 26th. So this guy was traded literally 5 days later. 5 days after this game. Yeah, look at that. Fritz Buelo. Oh, man, he was only hitting 107 at this point of the year? That's not good. So now, okay, Bob Wood pinch hit for him. Bob Wood, towards the end of his career, never really played a lot, so he's kind of probably just a main pinch hitter. Did have a bomb this year. That's pretty interesting. Kind of split some time between catcher. Look at this. Super utility guy. Catcher, right field, first base, second base, shortstop, left field. So this guy played all over the place. Cincinnati, Cleveland, took a year off, and then Detroit. And then Charlie O'Leary, the shortstop. This was his rookie year. Had 1 home run this year, 1 of 3 in his career. Not a very good hitter. D-War was not very good either. So Charlie O'Leary, not the best of players, which I guess you can see why he's batting at the bottom of the lineup, just 185 at that point of the career. And then Bill Donovan came into this game. Middle of his seemingly decent career. Was a pitcher. What did he do this year? 2.46 ERA, 16 for 16, 30 complete games. Struck out more than he walked, led the league in walks at this point. Led the league in complete games the year before, had the wins record for this Brooklyn? Yeah, Brooklyn Superbas. Played a long time. This was his 27-year-old year in 1904, and then had some of a hiatus here after he was done in Detroit. Went to the Yankees, and then back to Detroit in 1918. Bill Donovan. All right, so that's your Tigers team that got mollywopped by a really bad Senators team. Doesn't look like we have anybody hitting over 300, and look at these on-base percentages. These on-base percentages are pretty awful. Not a single guy has an OPS over 700. That's awful. Bill Coughlin. Scranton Bill, they called him, from Scranton, Pennsylvania. 1904. Oh, this guy was traded from Washington to Detroit. When was that? How soon after this game was that? This was the next day? That's so funny. So he was purchased for $8,000. What did he do in this game? Did he have a good game? He went 2 for 4 with a double and a sacrifice. And then he was immediately purchased by the Detroit Tigers the very next day. That's hilarious. They said, all right, we've seen enough. You can join us now. That's great. Patsy Donovan from Ireland. Okay. A lot of time in the 1890s. This was towards the end of his career, looks like. Just 1 year with Washington. Does not look like he had a very good year. Spent some time with Pittsburgh in the late 1890s. Led the league in stolen bases in 1900 with St. Louis. Were they the Cardinals at this point? Yeah, they were. Took a year off and then was with Brooklyn for just a handful of games over the next 2 years. Let me see how many other players have come from Ireland. Wonder if he was one of the first. Oh, definitely not. A lot early on. We even had a guy born. Oh, wait, no. We were some pitchers. Oh, wow, we're right. I was right. We haven't seen an Irish-born Major League Baseball player since 1945. We got a lot of Irish-born baseball players early on in the MLB's tenure, but Joe Cleary's the last one. Looks like he didn't play very long. Wow. That's pretty rare. Patsy Donovan. Irish-born. And an okay career. See what Joe Cassidy did. Chester, Pennsylvania. Not a long career at all. Played 2 full years here. Oh, he led the league in triples this year. So in the game that we have the all-time triples leader, Joe Cassidy led all of baseball in triples this season. Looks like that was about all he was good for. He had more triples than doubles and stolen bases. Wow. He had 241. Not great, but a lot of triples. So what was our guy? Sam Crawford. So he's the all-time triples leader. Remember that. And Joe Cassidy beat him out this year. Jake Stahl. Early on in his career, played not a full season with Boston the year before. Led the league in strikeouts this year. That makes sense. 99. 3 home runs. This guy hit some homers. 10 home runs in 1910. Led the league. This guy can mash. Seems like he had a strikeout problem, though. But, hey, in an age where home runs were rare, take it, I guess. He had a great game this game. Went 4 for 5, 3 runs scored, an RBI, stolen base. Is this the highest OPS? No, not quite. Coughlin had a higher one. John O'Neill. Ooh, -4. That's not good. Was traded from Boston this year. How soon was that? It was June 30th, so he'd only been with the team for about a month at this point. And then went to the White Sox in 1906. Was that a... I guess that didn't do anything. What did the White Sox do in 06? Was that one of their years? Yeah, it was one of their years they won the World Series. So was he a World Series winner? Yeah, it does. It does say he was a World Series winner. Canadian? Wonder how soon he was, or how one of the first guys from Canada, maybe? Not quite. Oh, yeah, definitely not. John O'Neill, there he is, 69th player from Canada. Short career, just 206 games. It's not great. Looks like he got better when he got to Washington, though, after the trade with Boston a month prior. Barry McCormick. Oh, this is the last year of his career. It was not a good year for him. 218, didn't do a whole lot. Wonder when his last game was. So his last game was August 30th. So he was only a month away from his last career game. Doesn't even have his first career game on here. Wow. So spent some time with Chicago. Led the league in games with, is this St. Louis? Yeah, St. Louis Browns. 1902. Below average hitter pretty much his entire career. Not great. Frank Hulsman. Again, kind of towards the end of his career. Actually, the most games he played in a year was after this. Wait a minute. He was traded 4 times this year? Chicago, Detroit. Okay, wait, is this one of 4? Oh no, this was the Washington. So he's gonna have a pretty wild transaction. Yeah. Purchased from Detroit from the White Sox. Returned to the White Sox. Wait, what? He went back to the White Sox. And then he went to the Browns. And then he went to the Senators. Huh. All in a span of not even 2 months. Like a month and a half. Huh. He had a 1903 Rule 5 draft. They've been doing that for that long? Wow. It's kind of wild. Yeah, this year was not great. Yeah, this last year of his career was his best. Frank Hulsman. Malachi Kittredge was one of the few guys that did not have a very good game in this game for Washington. Pretty meh season. Didn't really do a whole lot. So he was 34 at this point. Time with Chicago, Boston. Looks like he was traded to Washington from Boston before this season. Okay. 17 career homers. Then Beanie Jacobson. See what he did here. Sweden. Oh, that has to be pretty rare. Yeah, one of 5 players ever to be Swedish. Swedish born. The second. Beanie Jacobson. One of 5 Swedes to play Major League Baseball. Decatur, Illinois. There you go. This was his first season. He was 5-23. Not ideal. ERA does not tell the story. Looks like they, I guess, I mean, so if you look at it, I guess it's just that they couldn't hit, and this was the one game that they did hit. Actually, I want to see what the... So this is this game? No. This one? No. Where are we at here? I've got a tie. So we're July 21st. Yeah. This was one of their, like, actual big beatdown games. So they've got, like, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 maybe games where they won convincingly. Let's go to OPS. Yeah, they didn't have, like, anybody. Stahl was their best guy, essentially, and, I mean, even that wasn't great. I guess, well, okay, so, okay, I guess I have to kind of remember that OPS was probably going to be down with the lack of homers. So, they had 1, 2, 3, 3. They had 3 guys that were, like, above league average hitters, and then the rest of them were pretty abysmal. 500 people showed up to this game. I mean, I guess that makes sense. George Mullen pitched the whole game. 5 earned runs, so not all of them were earned. His ERA was still pretty good. Beanie Jacobson actually, this was one of his 3 wins. One of 3 wins that, or is, yeah, no, 5 wins. He was 5-23, and this was one of his 5 wins all year. Wow, that's pretty crazy. It was not a shutout, we know that. 253 innings pitched over the course of the year. Yeah, that's not a bad ERA. It's not awful. So we've got a couple guys. We've got the Irish. We've got the all-time triples leader. We've got a Swede. And we managed to get one of his actual wins, which is, hey, that's pretty rare. One of 5 wins all season for Beanie Jacobson, and one of 38 wins all season for the 1904 Washington Senators in a beatdown of the Detroit Tigers. Wild stuff. So we got an oldie here, and we got a couple big names. Sam Crawford, that's one name to remember, the all-time triples leader. Hall of Famer. I believe that's the only Hall of Famer that we did see featured in this game. Is this Nebraska? Yeah, it is Nebraska. Was he one of the first from Nebraska? Yeah, he was. A couple other Hall of Famers. Grover Alexander. Good pitcher, I believe. He was a pitcher, right? Yeah, he was. One of all-time great pitchers. So the 3rd ever player to come out of Nebraska was a Hall of Famer, and he is the all-time leader in triples. Yeah, there's your little nugget for this episode. Sam Crawford, don't forget it. You might think that Ty Cobb was the all-time leader in triples, but nope, Sam Crawford for these Detroit Tigers. Actually, I want to see if Ty Cobb was on this team. I don't remember exactly when he was. Looks like he was not on this team. So I would assume he came afterwards. Actually, let's just look it up. 1905, yeah, there you go. So he was the next year. So Sam Crawford, it seems like, is Ty Cobb before Ty Cobb. How about that? Really cool stuff. Oh, they had a managerial change this year, too. I didn't even realize that. So, does it tell me who the managers are in this game? No, it doesn't look like it. So we are 31-45 here. 30. So this was one of the last games that Ed Barrow managed. Wow. Wait. Ed Barrow. When was he? I guess it's not going to tell me when he was let go. Let's do some math. Okay, so we've got 78 plus 6 is 84. So 84. This was this the no, 76. So just a couple of days later, the Detroit Tigers manager was fired, and likely because of this series against the Washington Senators where they lost, and then Bobby Lowe took over. And it looks like he just finished the year. Yeah, this was his only other year managing. Wow. That's a cool pull. Very uncharacteristic. Well, not uncharacteristic, but, not a very well-known roster. I mean, obviously, other than Sam Crawford, there really isn't a whole lot on this one, but some really cool little nuggets from this game. A random July 21st, 1904, the Washington Senators 11-5 over the Detroit Tigers, and only 500 people in the history of the world witnessed this game at American League Park 2, the sequel in Washington. Super cool. All right, well, that's it for this episode. Thanks for watching, and we'll be back with another episode at some point as Zany Baseball dives into the depths of the Baseball Reference Archives. We're going to hit random on the next one, and we'll see what we get. Thanks for listening, and have a great day.